on, guys? Joshua here. Numbers, what are they good for? They're used for stuff like counting sequels and how much money you'll spend on McDonald's when you're alone on a Friday night. Speaking of sequels, in my opinion, they're supposed to build on the formula of the previous installment. Since we're talking about Sonic, I'll just tell you my favorite video game sequel, Bloody Trapland 2. Now, my favorite video game sequel is actually Sonic 3 and Knuckles for the Sega Genesis. We're not here to talk about one of the best classic Sonic games ever, if you're not counting Sonic Mania. We're here to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for Sega Genesis, and yes, I do have to say for Sega Genesis, due to a version on Master System that is very different and basically its own game. I'm not here to talk about that game, since I have not actually beaten it, nor do I want to, because I've heard that it's really bad, but I cannot confirm nor deny that, and this intro sequence is going nowhere, so blam! Sonic 2, everyone's favorite Sonic game except for me! Sonic 2 came out in 1992 and introduced many features to the main series that may or may not have stayed, such as Spin Dash. It introduced Spin Dash, Chemical Plant Zone, 2-player, and so much more. Now, after clearing something up, Miles Prower, aka Tails, was not introduced in this game. He was actually introduced in the previously mentioned Sonic 2 for Sega Master System, is where he originally originated, but I doubt many of you actually know what that game is, let alone care. So let's talk about the good Sonic 2. Everyone's favorite classic Sonic game, if you're not me. I've already talked about Sonic 1 and Sonic CD, so if you want to check out those, link in the description, if I remember. So, let's begin. This is what I call Sonic 2. I started with the story when talking about Sonic 1 and Sonic CD, so I'll start with the story in this video. Sonic 2 is a sequel to Sonic 1. They have a very similar story because of that. In Sonic 1, he had to save South Island from an evil Dr. Robotnik by traversing 6 zones, collecting 6 Chaos Emeralds while you do so in order to put an end to the scientist's evil schemes. Sonic 2 has a similar story. You're still collecting Chaos Emeralds to stop Dr. Robotnik, but this time there are 7 Chaos Emeralds instead of 6, and we got a new face to gawk at. The newcomer is Miles Prower, nicknamed Tails, and my god, that is a stupid pun. He follows you around the island up to a certain point. You have to complete 8 full zones plus 3 half zones. Every zone now has 2 acts instead of 3, with the exception of the final 4 zones having either 1 or 3, my god. There's also the unused Hidden Palace Zone that got reused as a secret zone in the mobile port onwards, but I'll get to that when I get to that. Tails himself actually has a backstory, but not shown in the games. You have to go to the game's manual or Sonic Origins for that. But basically, Tails was bullied for having 2 tails, and started to follow his hero, Sonic the Hedgehog. He's just a cute and cuddly fox who can actually be controlled by a second player if another controller is plugged in. A lot of people also think he's a girl. He's a guy. On to the levels, starting with Emerald Hill Zone, and by god, they didn't lie. Emerald Hill Zone is like Green Hill Zone, but more colorful, tropical feeling, and you can get all 7 Chaos Emeralds in Act 1 and 2 if you're good enough. It's also not as overused as Green Hill Zone. I'm pretty sure it's only appeared in this game. It has only appeared in this game. It's a bright and colorful level with a boss that's pretty easy. You literally just jump. The Emerald Hill Zone boss kinda sorta found its way into Sonic Mania as part of the Metallic Madness Act 2 boss. It's a pretty cool stage that Sega has kinda forgotten about, so if Emerald Hill isn't the overused zone of the game, then what is? Well, welcome to Chemical Plant Zone. While Chemical Plant Zone hasn't stumbled its way into as many games as Green Hill, it's still very much overused. On the second level in the previous game, Chemical Plant Zone is blisteringly fast. Some of the problems people had with Marble Zone and Sonic 1 was that it was too slow. I never had a problem with the speed of Marble Zone, but I do have to say Chemical Plant Zone is blisteringly fast when compared to it. This is due to the level design and the newly added Spin Dash. Back to Chemical Plant Zone. What am I supposed to say? Just a little I've already talked about, plus its name kinda says everything about it. I guess there's this water death section that's kind of annoying, but you can take an alternate route to skip it. The boss is easy too. You really just jump on him, assuming Tails doesn't completely f*** you over. Hell, I swear to God! Chemical Plant Zone is the second level in Sonic Mania and Sonic Generations, and it was also shoved into Sonic Forces for some reason. That's where I put my foot down. I love Sonic Forces. It was one of the first modern Sonic games I've played and beaten, but why did they put Chemical Plant Zone in?
Hello, I like money.
What inspired you to put Chemical Plant Zone in Sonic Forces?
Money!
The third zone is Aquatic Ruin Zone, and in my opinion, the most forgettable zone in the game. It's like if you take Labyrinth Zone and Mobile Zone and squish them together. It's fast, yeah, but not very interesting. It's also really confusing. I can't get the level design memorized because there's like 10,000 paths to take. It's supposed to be the water level of the game, but just like Chemical Plant Zone, you can beat it without touching the water. That's where Aquatic Ruin fails. It's supposed to be a water level, but with all the time I've played Sonic 2, I've beaten it without getting wet several times. So, it feels more like a forest zone rather than the flooded ancient civilization it's supposed to be. It has the arrows, which is kind of garbage, and I hate them. Moving on. The next zone is Casino Night Zone, all about gambling. Casino Night Zone more than makes it for Aquatic Ruin Zone. It's really easy to get crushed if you're not careful, and only has one bad nick. I will warn you that the slot machines can take 100 rings if you lose. Damn. Casino Night Zone will make a comeback in Sonic Generations as DLC, or as a real level in the 3DS version, taking over Chemical Plant Zone. There's also the inspiration for Casino Street Zone from Sonic 4 Episode 1. But you know what a really good zone is? Hilltop Zone is the 5th zone of Sonic 2, and it's by God the best zone in the game. Oh boy, I said something controversial, didn't I? Hilltop Zone always drew me in. Sometimes I open up Sega Age of Sonic 2, play Hilltop Zone, and go back to do whatever I was doing. The harmonica is a nice touch, and makes it really feel like country music. I don't know why it's called Hilltop Zone when you're above the clouds. Isn't that a mountain at that point? I've showed my love for this zone on this channel by remixing it 4 times. It's like Mobile Zone for me. I love it despite its flaws. Everyone else fucking hates it. I guess we never got a good lava level that everyone agrees is good until Sonic and Knuckles, Lava Reef Zone. Mystic Cave Zone is next in line, and damn, it's good. Everyone loves it, but me, it's okay. It's kind of boring, nothing inspiring. These moving boxes are kind of weird, and the flash of bandits are very annoying. But so is this pit of spikes that you can't escape from unless you're Tails or Knuckles. In the mobile version onward, the pit of spikes was replaced with a secret zone, the previously mentioned Hidden Palace Zone. I guess I'll talk about this now. Hidden Palace Zone was an unused zone in Sonic 2 that eventually put back in the mobile version of the game. Gone are the days with the pit of death spikes, and in comes the modern age of entering secret levels. Hell yeah. This level sucks. Don't get me wrong, I love its inclusion. It's fascinating that it's here. But the level layout is very confusing. I don't know where I am half the time. It feels like a giant maze. It feels like everything Labyrinth Zone was supposed to be. The boss is garbage. You can't hit him directly. You have to dodge the tiny bombs, and then he'll drop a bigger bomb, which will erupt upward, knocking him down so you can hit him. Supersonic or Tails can hit him though. This level doesn't actually use Hidden Palace's music. That was cut. It uses Mystic Cave Zone 2 player's music. You have to enter a secret menu and type the secret code on the sound test, which should be on screen, and then click on Hidden Palace to enter Proto Palace and hear the unused music. It's not a full zone, and it ends once you touch the fake Master Emerald, but it's a nice secret. I don't know if it's in Sonic Origins, and I'm too lazy to check. A little editor's intermission. Yeah, I couldn't get Proto Palace to work in Origins. Hell, I couldn't even get Hidden Palace to work for some reason. and then I googled it. It is not in Sonic Origins. Metroplis Zone is inaccessible in Sonic Origins. Back to the main game, Oil Ocean Zone. Oil Ocean Zone is like Aquatic Ruin Zone. It's not interesting. Okay, that's not the right way to say, as it's an interesting theme. It's just kind of boring to play through. Oil Ocean Zone would come back in Sonic Mania as the 9th zone of the game, and my god, why? They did actually make it interesting though. Mania's version has a stupid Sandopolis gimmick where you have to pull a level to get rid of the smoke before it drains your rings. Oil Ocean actually does have this funny exploit where you go underneath the oil and can just keep jumping, so you go under the whole level because the geometry only goes down so far. Just make sure you don't go too low, otherwise, yeah. The next zone is the infamous Metroplis Zone. The final full zone of the game. It's often considered to be the worst zone in the game. It is, but it's not that bad. It's horrible. I enjoy the music, and it's a fun challenge, but damn is it full of bullshit. It has a lot of bad level design, just like half the zone in Sonic Colors. The bandit placement is the biggest f*** you ever. The Astrons are a pain in the ass since they will explode if you get close. The level design is also confusing, but not confusing like Aquatic Ruin. Aquatic Ruin, I just take whatever path I fall on. Metroplis doesn't make any sense. Leaving the zones at 2 acts is good since it keeps levels from lasting forever, with 3, but some of the levels are too short. Metroplis Zone got around this problem by making the levels never f***ing end. The levels take forever, and so does the boss. Keeping your rings is really hard because it's a bad level design. You know it's hard when they made an achievement in the mobile version to beat any act in Metroplis Zone without taking damage. It's really hard. I should know. I did it! I've already said that Metroplis Zone has bad level design and takes forever, but it goes on for 3 fucking acts. I can't say anything that hasn't already been said, other than my idea for Metroplis Zone. Picture this. It's late 2020, and a teenage Joshua is playing Sonic Forces while the whole pandemic was going on. Sonic Forces has a level called Metroplis, and I distinctly remember when Amy mentioned Metroplis, I was like, no. No.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
And then I got to the first level of Metroplis thinking, wow, it still sucks. And then I thought, why is Metroplis Zone from Sonic 2 look like this now? What happened to the factory that was Metroplis Zone? So I actually came up with lore for Metroplis Zone, and here it is. Before Sonic 2, it was Wood Zone, which is an unused zone that used Metroplis Zone's music. Then Robotnik came and built the Metroplis Zone from Sonic 2. Sonic defeats Robotnik, leaving Metroplis Zone to rot for a while, and to the endmost of West Side Island, realized Robotnik was gone, and all the time between Sonic 2 and Sonic Forces, they are building a giant city that we see in Sonic Forces. And there was a long time between those games. I might go further in detail in a future video, or remix, and hint, but not right now. We're talking about Sky Chase Zone. Sky Chase Zone is the first of 3 single-act zones. It's so relaxing with the atmosphere and music. It definitely makes up for the pain you went through, 3 minutes ago? Now, just because this game break doesn't mean it's easy. It's a side-scroller level where you are riding Sonic's plane, the Tornado. It's about 2 minutes long, but not hard at all. But not too easy like Starlight Zone. But then you reach the end of the level and move on to the next, Wing Fortress Zone. The level starts with Tornado getting shot down, and if this is your first time playing, I'm so sorry. If you do know what this is coming, then you get to play a very long and very hard semi-final level. It's only 1 act, but it feels like 2 due to its length. The level design also makes it feel longer than it actually is. Make sure you don't step on this boost pad that's actually a giant troll. Then we have the boss. Oh boy! This is the first boss in the 16-bit series that isn't Robotnik himself. You're fighting a laser, and it's really difficult. I can't do this boss without dying at least once, even with all my skill with playing Sonic games and Cuphead. boss. So many flying hitboxes. After the boss, a cool cutscene plays with Sonic jumping on the tornado, then hanging on to Robotnik's ship without getting his arms torn off, and we reach the final zone of the game. Death Egg Zone, and there are no rings in this stage. No rings equals no second chances, so if you get hit, you will die. There are two bosses here, and the first is Super Sonic. Silver Sonic isn't the first robotic Sonic in the main series, that was Robo Sonic in Sonic 2 SMS. I've seen many struggle on this, but you can just spin dash under his feet, hit him 4 times, he spin dashes, hit him once or twice while he's standing there, he charges at you, but you're spin dashing, so either kill him while he's charging, or you don't, but you just spin dashing him to kill him. You know how Sonic's supposed to be fast? Well, apparently Robotnik is faster, because Sonic chases Robotnik, but he jumps into the final machine, his trump card, and final option against Sonic. The famous Death Egg Robot. This is the first fight in the Genesis games that don't take 8 hits. No, this mad lad takes 12. This fight right here, probably the best final boss in classic Sonic history. Hell, maybe one of the best final bosses in Sonic history. The music, the background, the fact that you can't make any mistakes really sets the mood. Sonic 1's final zone felt like Robotnik's most powerful machine, but nothing more. The Death Egg Robot in Sonic 2 invokes the feeling that this is your final challenge. Robotnik is on his last leg and is done fooling around. He wants Sonic dead. Sonic is not just fighting for himself, or just fighting for Westside Island, but for the whole world. Also, this guy is really hard, which makes it more intense and satisfying when you deliver that 12th hit, destroy the Death Egg, Sonic makes an escape out of the exploding Death Egg, and just barely. Just like Sonic 1, a small cutscene plays, but in a different format. The Death Egg explodes, Tails jumps into the tornado and takes off to look for Sonic. If you get the bad ending, Sonic lands from the plane, somehow doesn't break his legs, or the plane for that matter, and after the credits, Robotnik taunts you with the Chaos Emeralds and tells you to try again, like with Sonic 1. If you get the good ending, Sonic goes super and flies down, and if you're playing the mobile version, or Sonic Origins, you get this cool cutscene showing the Death Egg falling into Angel Island, which start the events of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but that's a discussion for another day. The discussion for today is the one part of the game I haven't talked about yet, which is Super Sonic himself. You need the 7 Chaos Emeralds, and just like Sonic 1, you obtain them by entering special stages. Entering the special stages requires 50 rings, just like with Sonic 1, but this time you need 50 rings with a checkpoint. Sonic 1's special stages are Peppermint Maze, while Sonic 2's is... yeah, this is cool. Sonic 2 special stages are half pipes that were used in many other Sonic games. You have to collect a certain amount of rings under a time limit. This fake 3D effect is kinda cool and I do like the music, but these special stages are not good because of the orange rat who's following you around. Tails has like a second of input lag, so you have to jump way earlier than it looks. I played Sonic 2 a lot and I'm used to babysitting Tails, but still it's a little difficult around the 6th special stage. Once you obtain all 7 Chaos Emeralds and 50 rings, you can activate Super Sonic. Super Sonic is like regular Sonic, except faster, can jump higher, and he's invincible. He has appeared in... and that's Sonic 2. I've spent the past few minutes talking about Sonic 2, and overall, you'd think I'd love it. But to be honest with you, it's probably the worst classic Sonic game ever. No, it's not bad. It is really good. It stands on its own really well and it's a fun time, but comparing it to Sonic 1, Sonic CD, or even Sonic 3, it's not the first one I'm picking. Sonic 1 is about 50 minutes long and it's a perfect length. The zones are the perfect length, except Starlight Zone, and the levels aren't mindless. All the zones' music is enjoyable and the atmosphere is perfect. Sonic CD, the levels aren't too long, the time traveling mechanic is neat, I like it. But Sonic 2? The levels are either too short or too long. The game is an hour and a half in length, and just feels like the same thing over and over with a change of theme every zone. The zones aren't that interesting. Nothing will catch your attention, while Sonic 1 and Sonic CD's levels do. The music, while good, is not as good as the other classic Sonic titles. Supersonic, while fun to get, makes the game feel mindless as he removes all challenge from the levels. What about Sonic 3, you might be asking? Well, Sonic 3 is good all around. Yeah, the game's like 2-3 hours long, but the themes are great and it doesn't get boring after a while. Even if you go super/hyper, the levels in Sonic 3 are just the right length, and so the game being 3 hours is fine. It also has an amazing OST. I find myself listening to it a lot more than Sonic 2's. Plus, Sonic 2's story is basically just a repeat of Sonic 1's, making it feel like Sonic 1 again. Sonic 1, 3, and CD just keeps hitting you with the good stuff. Maybe one dud zone after a bit, but it's still fun. Sonic 2's zones just feel like random locations. Aquatic Ruin is boring, Mr. Cave is just a cave, Void Ocean feels like a desert. I can go on. But look at Sonic 1 or 3's. Moa Zone is very clearly an ancient ruin, Scrap Brain Zone has evil written all over it, Angel Island Zone catches on fire, Ice Cap Zone is a very fast-paced and enjoyable snow level, Flying Battery feels like an epic adventure, Sky Sanctuary feels like heaven, and Death Egg is an epic climax. Hell, Sonic CDs are interesting, Palm Tree Panic is fun, Quartz Quadrant screams good time, Wacky Workbench, while annoying, is clever, Stutter Speedway and Metallic Madness have good atmospheres. None of Sonic 2's zones have any of this. Sonic 2 isn't a bad game, far from it, it's actually really fun. But compared to the other classic Sonic games, it's not the first one I'm jumping to. Anyway, it's time for me to play Bloody Trapland.